Okay, let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to take the feet off first. Just simply unscrew them. Really simple. So don't lose your feet. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start unscrewing the 4 main screws on the edges, and then we're just going to go inward. So what's really smart is to keep like a bowl or old ashtray. Hopefully you don't smoke anymore. It's really bad for you. But what you can do is put your screws in there and just kind of keep them separate. So you want to keep them separate because these are all different sizes. Should have about 4 different sizes, I believe. This is my second time doing this, so it was a little hard the first time, but I'll show you just how easy it actually is once I realized how easy it was. It is just melting and unmelting of some soldering on a circuit board of tiny cables. They're really tiny. And these cables go to the tone arm of the turntable. So I'll show you a little trick as well of making sure that you don't lose your tone arm cables in the pathway they come out from. And you can see I've already separated these as I go around. You probably won't even hear my voice as I'm just going to probably speed this up. Got some funk in the background. Like listening to Mixcloud a lot. Mixcloud just has a lot of range of basically radio mixes, or sometimes some DJs actually can mix really well on there, but a lot of times I hear like horrible train wrecks. So okay, it's really easy, and hey, if I can do it, you can do it. So okay, I believe we have all the main bolts off. So what we can do now is we can start taking this off, and you just gently kind of ease it up a little bit. And it doesn't always go well, but hey, we'll try it. Okay, it's kind of rubbery, which is really neat. Like it feels very metal, like, but there we go. Okay, so you're gonna have these. You're gonna need to put them through. Just put them to the side for now. Then you also have your power cable. So our next step is first want to unscrew. We can unscrew either or, but again, more screws, more things to keep track of and where they go. So make sure you separate them out and keep them in the same order. So you should have just 2 of these. My last one only had 2 of these. And then you also have these 2. So you just unscrew those as well. Keep those separated. About this time, I'll probably start heating up my soldering iron. I'm using a Weller SPG 40, and then I also bought a really tiny tip for it to give me a you know, since I'm working on a processing board, you know, you just want to be careful. You don't want to have something, you know, that's thick and, you know, burns the actual board like this thing, you know. So here's the Weller. I read some reviews on Amazon. I can post some links, but you see that's a really small tip compared to that tip. Now, I don't know if I purchased the right tip or not. I just guessed this whole thing. But based on how easy it looked with the tutorials, I thought, hey, I can do it. So I'm going to heat that up. I turn it to 4. Let me show you that. Base. Turn that to 4. It's not plugged in just yet. I like to always leave it unplugged before and after every use. Let's turn it on, heat it up. Okay, now let's move back to this part. This part's a little tricky, and it will probably kind of yank it a little bit, which kind of sucks. But you need something like one of those small little flatheads. So underneath here, it's hard to see, there's kind of a thing that you can push, and you kind of need to really just get in there and push it. It'll snap back together. So what we're trying to do is pop this out, because I'll show you when I get it out. There's one. Okay, so it comes apart, and you're gonna want to piece that back on. It's tricky, but you gotta remember it's. So here that part is. This is how it goes in, and then it will connect. These things will pop into that little slot and keep it nice and secure when you put your new cable back in. All right, place that to the side. Go ahead, use this to lift off that. You're gonna have to take this all the way off your cables. So take those out. Put that to the side. And this is what we're going to be replacing. We're taking this entire thing out. So there's, of course, 2 more screws you have to keep track of. But first, what we're going to do is we have all these tiny little cables. Oh my goodness, they are so tiny. And maybe I'll do a zoom in when I start working on those and heating them up. But I'm just going to heat them up and slowly pull them out. And then once they're all out, I'll unscrew this and take this out and replace it with a brand new one that I purchased off of eBay for about $55 with monster cables. It's pretty cool. So as you can see, these are the new replacement ones with nice monster cables. So all those small wires have to go and be connected right back in the same exact order. So in this order, it is blue, white, red, green, and black. So we'll get to that in a second here. I'm going to put this to the side until we're ready for that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this. I'm going to move this stuff just to kind of keep it out of the way. We'll keep it there. I'm going to have to make a little smaller. Go ahead, just stick it anywhere. It's fine. All right. So the idea is to get all of them you know, from falling or being misplaced. Here we go. Here's a little better way to do it. Just don't lose those. They're hard to get out. Okay, so what we're going to do is first we're going to clip this because this looks like it's in the way and we don't need it anymore. So we're going to use whatever this came from. Works pretty well. And I think, yeah, I got it. Oh, so pull it out, don't break any cables. Okay. You can just toss that because the new one has it. What you see, but my goal is to grab one of these little cables first. Okay, so now I have the blue. I'm going to gently go into it. It's okay if I burn these cables because I'm taking this whole thing off. So I'm going to pull as I heat this. And eventually it's just going to kind of like, there we go. So I have that. Just kind of move it to the side. I don't know if you can hear this mix, but like I was saying, like DJs don't necessarily mix that well on here. Oh, so I got that one. That's tiny. These are like the tiniest little wires, you know. But they're pretty amazing on what. Oh, I need some help. So what I'll do is I'll just use this tool and just kind of get that out of the way again. But at least I can grab this now. Alright, and get that red. There we go. Pull that one off too. Oop. Try to get them away from any heat right away, otherwise they'll re-stick. Okay. I'm going to do this one too. Pull, come on. There we, oh, see it re-sticks really quick. There we go. It's okay. You want that to have the soldering stuff on there. It helps kind of mend it back to the new board. Now again, this is just my second time ever doing this. Never even had a soldering iron until I took on this task. Okay, so I'm done with that. I bought this hankering. It tells you to do this with the tip and it helps clean it off. So cool with that. All right, we're gonna put our thing back in the case and we are going to take this piece out now, which contains the ground. And this is what also is cool, is that this is a self-grounding one. Okay, so let's start taking this out. And gotta find that tool. Oh, there it is. Okay, this is super easy. Again, hold on to your screws. Make sure that they are in place. Okay, so as I take this off, this one is longer and it connects to the ground. So you still want to keep this cable. We're not getting rid of that. So we have to actually reattach this really quick. Pretty simple. This actually, you need this. This goes over. This should kind of snap in. It has a little raised snap, you know. So again, I'm doing this very opposite, but we want to connect this right away and get this get this in working order, because they sound so much better. So much better when you have a great, connection. Gold connections always are gonna, be the better option. Make sure you flip that so it's to screw back on. And let's go back over the hole here. There we go. And before we totally put that all the way in, let's just get this guy back on here. First. So this is self-grounding, so we could eventually actually just take off the entire grounding cable after connecting this. Make sure you keep these out of the way. They're kind of a pain. Some things are a pain, but again, it's pretty easy. So I'm just gonna get this a little easier. Sometimes people can do things a lot faster or backwards. Sometimes you never know. Okay, so let's start getting that on there tight. That's what she said. I like to try to move it as far away from that black, but there we go. That's in nice. Tighten that one up. There we go. Okay. Here's the fun part. Now, do you guys remember how we had it? It was blue, white, red, green, black. So here's the fun part again, is getting all this in. So what I did last time is I took off the tape and actually just kind of taped up this hole down here. It's hard to see, but you'll see it when you get in there. Just tape that off just so, again, these cables do not go in there. So we're gonna try to grab the blue and we're gonna melt it back to it using the same exact process. But you gotta be quick and you have to be quick and confident. That's what I'll say, because when I first tried this yesterday, all I did was spend like 100 hours on trying a different route of how to do this. You just want them to connect once they melt. See, it's not that easy, but it gets easier. Let's just kind of get that cable a little bit more room. Some room on both of our sides. All right. Let's go ahead and do that again. Be a little bit more paying attention to it. Okay. So now I'm just going to leave it. It should already be attached. It is. So what was it? Blue, white, okay, I don't feel like I have a good grip, so I'm gonna do another, just kind of make sure it's really in there. I'm not moving my hand. When I melt it, it's gonna kind of melt in quickly and take. Okay, I think I got that one too. So I notice if you hold this up like, straight that way, the heat can get to you. So we're gonna red now. I hope I'm right because I took a picture of this yesterday, but you guys are my video. Okay, wow, see, sometimes it goes really fast. I'm getting better. But again, the first one wasn't bad. I've never ever soldered before in my life. All right, see, wow, I'm getting much better. These things are getting nice little tips on it and looking pretty cool. It's super easy though, you know, I mean, might have spent a little bit more money than I should have. But I think that's it. There you go. Let's just, pretty sure this has some black, red, white, blue. So there we go. We already have it. That's the fundamentals of doing it. So shut off your soldering iron right away. That's one important thing to do. And the next process is to put your plate back on, which can get a little tricky. So we are going to keep, you know, this tape isn't bad. We can keep the tape in there, and we probably just should. The tape will just, you know, prevent things from always moving around. So we'll just leave that there. We're still gonna keep the ground wire. I'm not cutting it and breaking it off. I'm just rolling it up and not using it because it's no longer needed. So with these new ends, this plate is a little harder to put on. So just make sure you put it on the right angle. I think with the indents, if it's indented, you don't want it. You want this side. So make sure that you put the cables in that way. You gotta do one at a time because they're a lot bigger. And they get a little tricky here because it's still pretty thick. But all right. And you want to place that through as well. Okay. Got some crazy guitar going on. All right, so this also has some little things to let you know where stuff should be. So you want to, you're gonna have to kind of get that out, you know, pull it out a little bit and try to get that onto that little nodule that keeps the plate in place, which is somewhere around here. I see it. I believe I have it right here. Almost. See, there's one. Okay. There we go. Now I have that nice and secured in there for the most part. What I'm going to do is put these screws in right away because it's just easier that way. Now you have it in place. Sweet. Okay, so that's in. Now we need to find that funky little piece, which is this. Now, I found this to be the most difficult and the most time consuming. So what I did was I immediately kind of place this in here first, because what you need is you need that. It actually has a little groove one end, so but as long as these are facing up, your screw holes, and then because it kind of sits in there, then do this, and it's got to be the same side. Now get your screws that you just had and try to get that screwed in, and it will clip together eventually and you won't have any issues. So I'm gonna try to force that in, which I couldn't. So again, as long as you just get that little bit in, it will eventually snap together. And remember, you have your power cable and you have these cables, your RCA and original ground that you will no longer need. So get your case, line it up, you know. So I kind of like putting it back together the opposite way from the way I started, was with the long screws around each side. So just get those in there first. Voila! DJ Puzzle taught me this trick. Basically, it is by a nice, sort of like a horsehair paintbrush, and it's great to clean off your synthesizers. You know, obviously clean off your turntables, because these parts get a little greasy. And if you have pets, like we do, we have cats, you know, grime gets everywhere. Okay, well, one good thing is it's plugged in, so it doesn't need to be, it's not starting on fire. I don't smell any fire. Do you guys smell any fire? All right. It's nice brakes. Oh yeah, see, that sounds good.